Happy Monday, everybody.
Yay!
Top of the week is Monday. We ready to get it going. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Not better than you, though, celebrating that anniversary this weekend.
Yeah, man. 12 years. Locked it in. 12 years. So
good, man. Congratulations.
Shout out to my wife for putting up with me for 12 years.
12 long years, brother.
Well, everybody, welcome to Man Talk Monday. This is our open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships, the whole nine, but we do it from a man's perspective. Now, just because it's from a man's perspective and it's called Man Talk, don't mean y'all can't participate. So you're welcome to participate in the conversation. We encourage you to participate in the conversation. Any comments that you put in, we can see it. So by all means, you can join in. If you have a question, you have a comment, just drop it in the comments and we'll make sure we want you to be part of the show too. All right. So let's get it going tonight. Interesting topic tonight.
Yes, it is, sir.
So tonight we're talking about, is Jesus racist? Is Jesus racist?
Now, you know what's interesting about this question? If most people, I'm sure, notice the most segregated day of the week is on Sundays.
Yeah.
So is he partial to my brothers and my sisters?
Right.
Because I mean, are we all reading the same Bible, or is there something a little different in their Bible? Did they get the extra books that we didn't get?
I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to bring in our expert that's going to talk with us tonight. He is Mr. Do It God himself. We got with us today Eric Copeland, better known as Prophet Copeland, joining us. How you doing, Prophet? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing fabulous now that I'm in with you two guys, you know. I'm enjoying this. And we haven't even got started good.
We already got it going. We got Selena said, "Don't talk about my Jesus."
Oh Lord.
Y'all already jumping in. So we encourage everybody to join in. If you got a question, comment, feel free to share it. So let's kind of give some background and just kind of say how we got on this particular subject. So everybody is aware of the incident that went down in Wisconsin with Jacob Blake, a young man who was shot in the back 7 times by the police officer. And because of that, protests broke out behind it. Now, during the protest, there was a young 17-year-old man, Kyle Rittenhouse, who was there. He was armed. He was part of a group who, I don't know, they were there participating, well, not participating in the protest, but rather they set themselves up as to defend property and so forth and so on. But the guy was armed. And in the midst of all of this, he shot and killed a couple of people. And now, here's the thing about it. There is a Christian crowdfunding website that is hosting a drive to raise money for him. And I'll share it with you, everybody, so you can take a look and see. So the site is Give, Send, Go. You see it in a second. All right, so let me back up so you can see the site. All right, so the site is Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go says a place to fund hope, a place to work together with the body of Christ around the world to make a difference. Right? So right here we see where this is the crowdfunding site for Kyle Rittenhouse. So when you click on it, it goes to that particular site. And you can see right now they've raised $281,098 for his defense fund. Right? They say Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself from a brutal attack by multiple members of the far leftist group Antifa. The experience was undoubtedly a brutal one, and he was forced to take 2 lives to defend his own, and so forth and so on. Over here, These are different messages that the different people who've donated have sent to Kyle Rittenhouse. Somebody says, "Thou shalt not pay penance for this tragedy. These attackers attempted an unwarranted infringement upon your unalienable right to life. To have paid the ultimate price for their deeds. Better to forgive these trespassers. You need not heavy your heart for their transgressions." Somebody else said, "Hang in there, don't despair. Nothing is over yet. A lot of people are supporting you." So the young man is getting a lot of support from various people, but the thing is, this is a Christian crowdfunding website. Now, let me say, they didn't start the fund, but they are rather hosting it. They do have the ability to shut it down if it went against any policy that they have set up. So, what do you think about a Christian crowdfunding website hosting a fund for this young man?
Okay, let me go first.
All right, go jump in there.
You know, there should be times when Jesus will be sitting on the throne and something happened and he pushed a button and said, "Hold on, everybody stop."
Right.
I ain't got nothing to do with that. Don't put me in that. Yeah. Y'all doing that. Y'all made a mess of that thing. Don't put me in that. I don't have nothing to do with that because I know how they did it. If it's with, like they said, if it's within the bylaws and if it's within this and not that, man, because things can be twisted to work any kind of way you want to work. But the church, and I think the church needs to stay as far. Not when I say the church, I mean religious organizations need to stay as far away from this as they can. And you had the audacity to hit us with the thus and the thous.
Yes, you went King James speech on us, didn't you?
You might well put the scripture back in Hebrews over in Romans. It talks about if you go, what are we doing? You can't do that. Not my Jesus. Don't do it like that. Don't do it like that. Come on, y'all. I don't know what else to say.
No, you're right, because you gotta understand, Jesus, he frowned the Sadducees and the Pharisees. That was their main, religious, political thing. But Jesus always stayed aloof, and he always went back to the word. And so it's important that we know the word. I was talking with somebody about this upcoming election, and they got hostile. And I said, wow. Oh man, and I kind of felt in my heart that, okay, hold up, Cope. You letting this thing get to you, knowing that you don't need to lose your faith, your spirit, your heart, So I draw back because I need to go back and pray.
Right.
I've always had a difficult time with race and religion, to be honest. I've always had a difficult time with this because I was looking at the movie the good Harriet Tubman, and the preacher said, you're supposed to obey your master, and master was sitting over there looking like, yeah, what he said, and I'm like, no. We had to have taken that out of context because it made it sound as if Christ was all for it's going to be slaves. And
there's an actual Bible that they actually made for slaves that took out all of the things that talked about in the Bible where slaves got free. So there was no mention of what actually happened with Moses and the whole nine. So any reference to slaves getting free or anything like that was taken out, and it was all about serving your masters. So there was a special Bible that was actually written during that time.
And I heard they added something. If thine catch you reading, I'm going to touch thine legs. I just think we have let me say this. I'm joking about something that's very serious, but that's because that's what I do. I make lighter things so it makes it easier for me to process and deal with. Because if not, this thing can be really, really heavy, man. So I don't want to offend anybody by joking around, because I know right now is a very critical time. But I'm simply saying this. I don't think that we've done a good enough job of separating Christ from the things that are going on of the religious manner. We have, God has nothing to do with what we're doing, with the decisions that we make. Because I have to make a decision to pull my gun to shoot this man. God doesn't have it. Now God can influence us to do the right thing, but we can also be influenced to do something else. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we don't do a good job. People never say, I did it. Right. I did that because I wanted to do that. Nobody says that. So if you don't say that, it leaves room for, well, the devil made him do it. No. You did that because you wanted to do it. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah. And, I'm reminded when Jesus, the will of divorcement, he said it never was so. He said, but you guys kept running your mouth and asking for it. And he said, so this is how it came out. Y'all, that's what y'all wanted. But Jesus said it was never so. And a lot of times the same thing with religion and politics. It's not nothing that Jesus said. It's always what man said. And so I go back to the word makes lie, but it was the spirit kill. The spirit make a lie, but the
law killer. Yeah, the law
killers. Yeah,
the law killer. The spirit makers lie. Now, so getting to my first question: are political views dividing the church?
Absolutely they are. I think this is what surprises me. When when president, okay, for example, let me give you an example.
Okay.
If you found out that half of your church members voted for Trump, you tell me that wouldn't divide the church? If you found out that because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and they said that this white guy approached him, and he was talking about basketball, and he said he had no preconceived notions about the guy, nothing. They were conversating, and he said he felt pretty good about the guy, like the guy felt about him. He said until he went around the corner and saw the big Trump banner on his house. Immediately he began to think, "Oh man." And I think that's what politics does. It skews our views so we don't exactly see the heart of the person, but they vote for that devil or they vote for this, and because there was a same people have gone so far to say that if you not what they say, that's your president, and if you agree with that, I want you off my Facebook page. You mean, wait a minute?
Oh yeah, people have Facebook friends and everything behind this. So, yeah.
So not only, there you go.
But it's a personal thing. It's not, now I'm gonna be very honest with you. I found some friends of mine that support y'all 45th president, and
I guess we know where you stand. I get it. Go ahead.
So it kind of like I had to do. Watch what I'm about to say. I had to do a heart check, because do I allow with their freedom of speech and what they feel and what they believe to mess up my relationship with that person because he or she chooses to go with that order other than what I like. And so again, it's a heart thing, and I always say the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. And so, with this free speech and freedom of speech and knowing, you got to, certain things I don't even talk about religion because I know what it might do to my blood pressure, it might do to my,
Which makes me say, and it's something I was thinking about today. Is this something that, do you want people to have a preconceived notion about you because of your religious preference? Because if people, if you got banners of Trump in front of your house, you almost can't even come down here and talk to me without me looking upside your head thinking something else about you. I mean, really, it's really tough. I've never seen. You know, it's funny. I think the church has always been kind of divided by politics, but never like this. Or at least, wait, let me stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think 44 kind of divided us like the Red Sea, because a lot of us were with him just because he was black. But now, I don't think none divided the church more than that.
Well, truth be told, it wasn't so much he was black; it was because he was Democratic. Watch this, and there was a woman running, and a lot of them didn't want to go for the woman.
Yeah, that's
more
true.
so than the party.
That's true.
And so a lot of people stayed home and did not vote. And so they opened the door for them to go in, along with his undermining and his underhandedness of the election.
Let me pause for a second. I want to address something real quick. All right.
Okay.
We got Junebug. Junebug was laughing. He said, "Man, this is a new one. Are you talking about that white Jesus pictures you see in the churches back in Morehouse?" He's talking about Morehouse Parish, where I'm from. Junebug, he's from the area where I'm from. I just want to bring this out for us for a reason, because we're talking about, is Jesus racist? Just like in church, when people want to get a point across and they don't want you to argue them, they'll say God said, and because they say God said, we don't challenge them. So it is become a practice. It's a reason why Jesus was painted, blonde hair, blue eyes, because proximity equals power. So the closer I am to God, the more I have over you. So people have an incentive for trying to paint Jesus a certain color, because it gives them a license to be a certain way. So they're trying to endorse their own selfish attitudes, their own selfish behaviors by saying God backs me up. So I get what you're saying, Junebug, but I just wanted to address that because it's kind of going with what we're talking about, because there is a group of people who believe that they are serving God in defending the actions of this young man. So what do y'all think about that?
First of all, let me say this: you got to warn us before you get heavy, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Because this particular, just the whole thing about the oppression of blacks in this country, people have used that as a reason to leave God all alone. I mean, a lot of blacks are leaving the Christian faith and everything because they say, how could a loving God allow us to suffer like this? So,
but this is, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's very important, because we're talking about religion, we're talking about racism, but when it comes down to God, it's a heart thing, it's a spirit thing. And so you got to make sure that it says in the last days, he said, if it was possible, it would fool the very elect. Now, we are in them times where he says, in the last days, there'll be perilous times. There'll be wars and rumors of war. If we're not there, we there. And so it says also, work out your soul salvation with fear and tremble. And he said, if it was possible, it would fool the very elect. And so this is going to test the man or the woman that has a relationship, not a religion, with God, because it's going to separate the men from the boys.
But how can you put scripture on this young man being driven to a place, going there with an AR-15? Because if you got an AR-15, you're going to hunt, you're going to shoot somebody. How can you back that up and say with religion and say, well, because all you should be saying is we're gonna pray for your soul, because the justice system gonna have your behind.
But that might y'all might add religion to it, but that definitely was not religion. That was definitely his heart or his mindset to do what he did or was going to do. That got nothing to do with religion or God. That was free will.
That's true. But the religious people are backing him to the sum of $200,000.
Well, now this is the other thing. He said that we really don't know who's giving.
That's true.
And they may not be religion. They just may be because of their heart toward racism or what they believe, because he is Caucasian, and that there's a lot right now dividing or the division between whites and blacks.
That's true.
And so it's not necessarily that is religion. If somebody saw this and said, "Oh, I'm gonna stand for our people," and they're putting their money in.
So how can people say they love God and still express political views?
Well, I think people do it because I think after a while, I think God kind of tugs at your heart. When I know he tugs at your heart, but I believe the more you address that this is what I want with my free will, I think God kind of allows you to lay in that. Because and after a while, it's not as wrong as it was before when I first started doing it. Now it's just a way of life. Because you can't tell me that the whole premise of slavery and religion is bonkers to me. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me this sounds right to you? How do you pray? How do you pray to somebody and you're holding people against their will and making money off of them? It's just the whole concept of how can you pick up a book even if you slept next to the Bible, a little that should get on you, or just something. I just can't understand the whole premise of. I can't understand. I can't.
You know, I found out talking with people, is that what they believe? It's very hard for me to try to exchange or try to tell them different. For example, I got saved at a very young age, and once I got filled with the Spirit and had the signs of Mark 16, and these signs will follow you, it was very difficult for a Muslim or any other religion to convert or try to change me, because I had experienced something that I knew for myself that God had come in and changed my heart. And so even when it comes down to politics or religion, if you have that form or you have that basis that's what you heard and what you believe for all these many years, it's very difficult for you to sway or talk that person out of what he believes. And it's sad, because they're calling right wrong, wrong right. I looked at the conventions, the Democrats, they had their week, and then the Republicans had their week. They say that the first day that the Republicans was on board, the fact finders said they did more false facts in one day than the whole party did the whole week. But
and
people, go ahead.
Here's the danger in that, because you have people who are blindly following, and they just take anything that's said. They don't fact check to see if this is something I need to be following, or if this is something I need to be internalizing. They just go. And I think the powers that be, or the people who come up with the speeches and everything, I think they know this, and they would rather inflame the minds of people rather than feed them information that will cause them to think. They don't want them to think, they just want them to react. Because if they think, there might be a possibility where they may begin to reason away a lot of the things that give them their political footing. But we got 45 in office. You have evangelicals who are saying he's God's man. And then you got black pastors and preachers saying this is the devil. But we all supposed to come together on Sunday and unite under the same Jesus. How is that possible?
It's not the same Jesus. Not the same Jesus. It's definitely not the same Jesus. So again, it's hard. And part of the Jesus is mighty dollar. Is the economics and the finance that comes with supporting certain people. You know, and so again, you got to be very clear again where your heart is. Where your heart is, that's where your treasures is. And so you got to be very careful. Again, like I'm sure they got the same Bible I got, but they ain't reading the Bible that I got because of what they believe and what they want, the results they want. And so again, I'm working out my soul salvation with fear and trembling because some of the stuff that they say is right, I know is wrong. For example, the biggest thing they talked about the last president was his belief on homosexuality and that type of faith. But now you got one that's groping, you got one that's committing adultery, you got one that's lying every day. As the Bible said, a liar will not even tarry in his sight. But so again, you got people that they're convinced that this is the man of the hour, and they're not looking at his conduct, his attitude, his ethics, you know, because they got a different agenda in mind.
And I guess maybe I need to remind some people, if you ever take a chance to look at the Bible, you will find that there were people that God raised up for the demise of his own people. So don't think because God raises up somebody that is favorable for you. Sometimes God gets tired of a lot of the foolishness that's going on, and he'll raise somebody up just to bring destruction. And you're like, why would loving God do that? Because God is a parent.
Let's go back to this COVID for a second.
Yeah.
The COVID, for example, has locked us down. Well, locked me down. I haven't been out since January. That's almost 8 months. And I do a lot of travel, and I travel around the world. But it has blessed me to get focused back with who I am and who God is in my life. And so the COVID has caused my family to reunite again because we were all going in different directions. And it locked me down into a place to listen to her, listen to the kids, and not really do nothing. So there has been a blessing in some sense because, you know, the 40-day at first recognizes us to kind of regroup, consecrate, get connected with God. And I think with the world being shut down for that time, with no businesses open, with no travel, it had you hopefully to look back within yourself to see where you really stand for God, because I do believe Jesus is coming. He's coming in the world. And with him coming, you know, I want to be ready. So I think the COVID helped me do a heart and a soul searching where I am and where I believe, you know, in my faith, in my belief in God. So there's a pro and con with the COVID. Yes, I don't like to see people dying because of the disease. Right. But in the same token, you know, especially when you see major countries almost beat the thing, got it down to 8-9 people and nobody dying, well, then you got somebody in this country say he don't believe it, it's a hoax, they try to stow me off. And you got at one time 1,000 people dying a day. And we've got more people dying or have died than all the 3 wars put together in one country. That's sad.
And I think you bring up a great point. If anything, with all the destruction that COVID has brought to this nation, probably one of the main things it did was exposed our allegiances. It exposed where we are as a country, because I'm convinced that the reason why those countries prevailed against the virus is because they were a people. If they made a decision, the country could stand together on that decision. Our country can't stand on one decision because we're so divided. And I think COVID exposed the division more than anything, to the point where wearing a mask has become a political statement.
Yeah, it was like also with the seatbelt. You remember at one time, I ain't wearing no seatbelt.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't wearing no seatbelt. Yeah. But after so many people, go ahead, Yogi.
Well, I wouldn't wear a seatbelt either, but I got 2 seatbelt tickets for $150 a piece. I got on the seatbelt right now in my chair right now.
But no, but that's a great point, because here's the thing that I think people miss. The culture in any area, whether it be a neighborhood or country, a culture is formed by the things we reward versus the things we punish. If we punish certain things, people won't do those. If we reward certain things, people tend to go towards this. So as a nation, are we really sending the right message as far as rewards and consequences in how we're dealing with this young man, or even dealing with the police behind everything?
Well, that's a really good question, because I think we may be a little guilty of that on both sides.
Okay, explain.
I think it's a way to protest. I think it's the way to show your displeasure. If as a people, if we could come together as one, we could get some act right. Mm-hmm. If you start touching the pockets of your oppressor, you can get some act right. And I think it's like with the boy. Now with the $200,000, who don't need $200,000? So the next time something comes up, why let me get my gun and go out and see if I can get people to get me money. I mean, think about this. Yeah. This is what this $200,000 was what we could see. Think about how many people are reaching out to him that we don't know about that are issuing the money.
Right.
That's what we can see, and I'm sure it has to be a lot worse about what we can see than what we can't see. I'm sure of it. And now
the other thing is that we got to we got to remember we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. And in the church world, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And how he does that is through division. A house divided cannot stand. And so we've got people that are divided, and that means the enemy can come in, or as the scriptures say, let him come in and bind the strong man. And once he binds the strong man, the house is in trouble. And so again, as we have not gathered together as a nation, as we have not gathered together as a church, and we have not gathered together as a believer, believers believe one thing, another believer believes another. We have not come to unity, and I believe that's a trick of the enemy to cause division through the whole body of Christ. It's division. There's no solitude, or there's no unity. Every man for himself, and it's causing havoc. It's causing.
So let me ask you a question. It's based on what you said. So, did this cause division, or did it rather expose the division that was already there?
I think it did a little bit of both, but I think more so exposed the division. I think it's been all along because of history. History has a good part of letting us know where we are, because history has a tendency to repeat itself. And again, you can't erase history because history is what it is, history. And so I think we're going to repeat ourselves, even to the point when the other pandemic back in the early 18, that it caused so much of havoc because they didn't obey, they didn't submit, they didn't come together.
Right.
So, right. And like, for example, they still don't have a cure for this virus, and I think because of lack of leadership. And if you notice that the leader didn't say hardly anything about that, but people are dying daily. He's doing what he want when he want, and he's trying to destroy our democracy, our constitution, and people like that, because I hate to say it, it's about the money. It's about the economics. It's about, people say, well, how are we going to live? Now, watch this. In the foreign countries, the government came together and allowed everyone to have so much money every month so they didn't have to go out and work. Here we came and come together on a stimulus check because they're fighting, because, again, it goes back to power. Whoever's got the dollar got the power.
Yeah.
And so that's the other states and other countries, London, they were giving every family, I think, like $500 a month to stay home until we realize to fight this virus. man, folks, I got to work. I got to feed my kids. I can't stay home. And so it goes to another level.
Absolutely. And let me just remind everybody, if you're watching, if you have a question, you have a comment, you want to say something, express yourself, just drop it in the comments. We are looking. I'm watching the comments, so you can be a part of this conversation too, just by putting your question or your comment, drop it in the comment section on Facebook, and you can join the conversation too. Now,
and I had okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I want to say to us that watching and listening, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now I'm going into my little prophetic mode or my prophetic gift. We have not seen nothing. Whether who wins, it's going to cause such a chaos that if you don't know your God and have a relationship with your God, you're going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Your family going to lose it. So in this time, you need to search your heart, search your soul, and say, listen, God, where do I stand with you? Not with the world, not with politics, not with religion. Where do I stand with you? Because I want to make sure when I leave here, I go home and be with him. Now, you know, and I know the church will never be the same. In fact, I know my brother. Go ahead.
I just want to say, you might need to say that one more time.
Right.
And I think that's what people don't realize. A lot of things won't be the same, but specifically the church won't be saying, "Go on, now do the same to them."
No, yeah, because you know I got one brother that's a bishop, and he has totally is getting ready to tear his choir stand down to put up TV screens because of the technology or the way that we're going in this COVID with this disease. People will not come. I don't care how many doors you open. People our age or my age are not leaving because we're more susceptible to it. We're quick to get it than anybody. So if we don't come to knowledge or conclusion that this is not church as usual, you know, we're going to lose more folk, you know. And so, you know, one guy said, even the choir, he says, really, the 6 feet is nice. He said, but when people sing, they spread, they send things out, germs out, and it goes farther than you think. And so again, because we don't know where this thing is and how this thing is, you know, it's crazy. Now I know folks say, but Cole, where's your faith? Yep, right. You got it. My faith is right in these 4 walls right now. And I'm hearing God say, be still, Cole. Be still.
You got a point, because I think people forget the Bible says the wisdom is the supreme thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we run on faith, and we just said wisdom. God said, don't ignore what you know. You should be doing and take chances, because that's what we call tempting God. When we try to do stuff, we start doing daring stuff, we tempt him, because it's like we get out there and we say, okay, I'm gonna jump out here because, you know, and we miss the fact that God said, no, that's not what's going on right now. It's not a time to test. This is the time to sit down and listen.
And I think that's the most difficult thing for us, because there is nothing like coming to yourself when you've been by yourself, and all the noise and all that stuff stops, and you know, you're not running to the church for choir rehearsal. A lot of the stuff that was distracting you from God before, you know, because a lot of times things like that were the only things keeping us going to church. And now that God has removed all of that, now it's like but this is my only thing. I just don't understand this part of it. When you get prayed for, so it's praying on the screen the same as praying when somebody on you like this. Come on, girl, you were doing. You better get out of there.
Or they lay their hand. Is the same anointing on the prayer? You pray through the screen and still have that anointing.
It's according to your faith and what you believe, man. It's what you believe. It depends on, Because let me tell you something. There were some preachers in my day, and like I said, I know young. They used to put the hands on the screen, touch the screen, and folks would get healed according to their faith. Wow. And so again, you don't necessarily have to lay hands physically according to it. You remember one guy came up to Jesus and said, "Listen, my servant is sick unto death," and he said, "Jesus, come on, let's go." And Jesus said, "No, man, you ain't got to go." He said, "All you got to do is send your word." He said, in that same hour, his servant was made whole. So, and Jesus said, "Man, I didn't see no faith in all of Israel." So again, we gonna see who really is the real deal in these next several months.
So Jesus did he did distance healing. That's what they call it, distance healing. We got distance learning. He did distance healing. So
I think one of the things though, you said this when I talked to you earlier. You said it's a matter of the heart. I think God is trying to fix the hearts of his people. Because I think for the most part, man, we've been, we love God, but we ain't been in love with God. I think he's trying to
say that again.
I think we love God, but we haven't been in love with him. I think we've been seeing him because we're out of a habit, rather than seeing him because we needed to see him. Or because when you get married, but when you're dating, I got to come see you. I got to see you. Now, after you've been married for how long? I've been married 30 years. Girl, what is it? What you want, girl? What is it? I mean, after a while, it becomes something that you just used to doing. And I think God had to get us away from that. God wants us to pull on him because we need him. And this is the thing, because the only way you can be in the situation that we are with the church and state and politics is you have to be on autopilot with God. You have to be on autopilot. Because there's no other way. You could not be conversing with him and praying like you're supposed to, and he not deal with you about some of the things we need to change.
Let me say that. I heard Wallace say, a preacher, I had it on my Facebook page, where he said, you cannot be racist or hate if you have not been born again. Now, the Bible says, how can you love God who you have not seen and hate your brother who you see daily? He says, you're a liar and the truth is not in you. Mm-hmm. So again, we've got to begin to stop, again, looking and listen to what people are saying. We got to not only look, but we got to listen, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. If that lady say that I'm going to slap you because I don't like you,
you better listen to
Hey, when people real upset, what they say, that they really feeling that. So if there is no filter, there is no guard. They are coming from the heart. Once you hit that button, whatever come up, you gotta listen to what they saying at that time. So definitely
see, the Bible is good, but it needs to put, how sometimes you can put a little stank on it. The Bible needs to say you're a liar, you're a cheat, you're a dog, you're in the snake belly. It needs to put you in the mud, because the way it reads, there ain't enough on it. You need to put a little bit more on there. Put a little bit more on there to make people say, wow, whoa, did you see all that? Oh, I got to get my heart right because I don't want to be all that.
Yeah. And I think here's the dangerous part of religion. Dangerous part of religion is we accept what is said without searching it, without really researching it and thinking about it. When God challenges us, he said, reason with me. He said, come to me, let's talk about this thing. And you give me your view, I give you my view, and you see who ends up being right. But if you just take it without even questioning it, there's a part in the Bible where they said the Bereans were people who, they didn't just take the word at face value. Once they got the word, they went and searched it. And they said these people were more noble than even the regular Christians, because they took the time to actually search out what they were being fed. So religion, you just accept what people say. And I think people have made politics religion in this country.
Oh, very much, very much. I think it's religion 2.0. I think politics are very much so. But one of the things though, and then you right on with this. We were guilty. My generation was guilty of doing things because we were told to do them and not asking questions why.
Right.
And that's what makes the millennials so prevalent, because they don't care what you tell them. They ain't doing it, number one. And then whatever you do tell them, they got to go to the Google or go to some that you got to prove it to them.
Right.
So as much of a headache as that is sometimes, I understand it. And I think a lot of it is the reason why the world is kind of on the axis that it is now, is because no, we're not doing that. We're not, because we were taught, be quiet, be quiet, don't say nothing. If you say something, I'm gonna hit you.
And hold on, that's it right there. Because if we question, we be punished.
Yes.
This generation, they're not punished. These parents don't whoop them.
That's true.
So they feel empowered to just say whatever and ask whatever. But it is bringing about, now people have to actually think about why they actually believe what they believe.
My mom and them used to whoop us when they didn't have nothing else to do. We were sitting around watching TV, playing cards. She would say, you know what? You feel like whooping the kids? He's like, what, sure, let's whoop the kids. I'm like, y'all gonna do something though. Y'all gonna do something, so we're gonna whoop y'all now. So well, okay, all right then. So we stayed ready.
See,
y'all had to stay ready.
Just for cardio, huh? Just the workouts, you just whoop you. Good exercise, yeah.
We didn't talk back. We stayed respectful. We didn't question stuff. We didn't, and man, it's funny. We were well-disciplined kids, but I don't know if it's good not to question certain things. Why are you doing certain things? Because when you get older, you keep doing that. You just kind of do it all in line and do what people tell you to do. Go ahead, Kobe.
It does say that they become more wiser and more wickeder in this last days. And they have become wiser, because there's folks that my grandkids know more about the internet than I have ever thought about technology.
Yeah.
But they're also wicked. They're wicked. They're just.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why they're wicked. Because first of all, they took Bible or prayer out of the school. And then it wasn't the last time you heard people go to Sunday school. Sunday school was the key to you learning the Bible.
Right.
Church was more of a two hymns, offering, preacher, and shake your hand and you're out the door. Well, Sunday school, when's the last time you heard somebody talk about Sunday school? Sunday school, where you learned the 10 Commandments, you learned the Proverbs, but they're not teaching that no more. So this world has gone way backwards because they took really God out of everything. Because what is their God now is the mighty dollar. Money.
Can I say to hell in the handbasket? Can I say that?
Yeah. You can say that.
But you absolutely right, because my grandmother made sure we were at Sunday school. Every when I tell you every Sunday, you better believe me. When we was able to walk, we was at Sunday school.
If you got drunk on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you got them shoes and that suit, that one suit you got, and that one, you got up and if you came in at 6, church was going at 7, you're gonna get in that shower and get back outside.
But I think that's probably where the disconnect came in, because we convinced ourselves that showing up for Sunday was doing God's service. And we think we did the minimum requirement just by going to church, and we never even touched the requirement, because the church service was not for him, it was for us. And we made it more, okay, I went to church, you good now, God? You satisfied? Okay, now let me go do me. And that's the attitude we've had through the years, even our parents, but they drilled in us, go to church, but nobody told us why you are trying to keep me here. I'm trying to get the church in you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was focused on that.
That's good, man.
Now, God just becomes a part of the culture of this country, to where he's not the overarching motive behind what we do in this country, but rather just something we pick up along the way and just include, just to make sure we have it just in case.
Well, I was raised Baptist. I was a Baptist. My mom was Baptist. And when I got baptized, when I told my mom, I'm ready to go get baptized. Well, I did it to keep her off my back, because I was something to behold. And so all I could tell you now is that when I got baptized, I went down a dry devil and came up a wet devil.
I like that.
because nothing changed. My mom was crying. Oh, you've been to the water. Yeah, that's all I was, to the water. Because I went down a dry devil and came up a wet devil.
So you put water on the devil.
So that was the Baptist belief. But I'm truly thankful that I had a relationship with God, that I know without a shadow of doubt that he took and changed my inside, filled me with the Holy Spirit, and allowed me to be his son. Now he calls me son. And so I'm grateful for my relationship, not my religion.
Yeah. And I think we don't do a good job of communicating what that really means for a person, because people don't follow law, they follow culture. And if the culture dictates that church is just something I do, it's not the thing that governs my life completely, it's just something that's a part of what I do as a person, then we miss the point. And God is really not God in our lives. He's really not our parent, our father, all that he needs to be in order for us to even, see the type of life that he wants for us. And we wonder why we don't see it. And we committed to a level that's comfortable based on culture, but not based on the actual word. And I think right now that's what we're facing. He's challenging the comfort that we've had in this country for years.
And that just reminds me, Derek, is that even in my gift, people would go after the gifts, the gift of prophecy, the gift of word of wisdom, the gift of word of knowledge. Mm-hmm. But it's like a coin. There's the fruits of the Spirit. Right. There's 9 fruits. There's 9 gifts. But people were so gung-ho about the gifts and forgot about the fruit. Why? Fruits have got to be cultivated. They have to be developed. You have to water it. The Bible says the gifts and callings are without repentance. You got people that have gifts, but they're swindles. They're crooks. They're no good. Their character is lousy. And so I pray that we as a people can go back to discerning the truth from the false, or discerning the good from the evil, the right from the wrong. Because right now, man, I don't know what they see. These folk here, they calling right wrong, wrong right, and they just doing things that is not what I understand to be written in the Word of God.
One of the things as I'm listening, man, I'm thinking, we asked, was God a racist? Was Jesus racist? And I believe, and through this, I'm thinking, and I've always kind of thought this though, but you guys have put a cap on it though. We've allowed racism and all this stuff to come into the church, and so it's funny. Why are we so surprised that it came over the nation? We've always allowed it in the church. We've always allowed a lot of things in the church that we kind of winked at. But then when it gets out of the church, because what if the nation is doing what the church was doing? What if the church was supposed to be the example? Because remember, we're supposed to be here to bring heaven on earth. What if we are the example and the world is following us? You're
absolutely right. We were supposed to set the example. We're supposed to set the example for love, the example for forgiveness, the example for how to work together, how to live together, how to coexist together. We're supposed to set that example, but we let the world dictate how we do that. And
because I believe that we all had as long as I had my four and no more, long as my four were taken care and I had food and roof over, the heck with all the rest of y'all. And we really were selfish. We're selfish. And Paul said it like this: we got to die daily to the things of the flesh. And so a lot of us ain't died. We still alive and kicking, and the heck with the rest of y'all, because I'm gonna get mine and y'all get yours,
Right. So now you mentioned earlier about principalities, and just for people who are listening, you hear that word, and not to be overly religious, but a principality is an authority that pushes an idea that prevails over a large area. So if you take the United States, the principality would push independence. So the idea of independence is what we function on. Now, independence in and of itself is not necessarily bad, but when independence becomes selfish, like Prophet was saying, where all you consider is yours and nobody beyond that, now it becomes a problem. Independence in the sense of I need to be responsible for myself to make sure that I'm doing right. That type of independence is definitely necessary because everybody needs to take responsibility for their decisions, for their actions. But when it becomes a situation where I disregard other people in my decision making, now I become selfish in that. And we have a selfish culture in this nation. Everything is about self, and nobody is. That's why Corona is running so rampant. I put my mask on not because any rights that I have. I put my mask on because if I'm sick or not sick, I don't want to harm the next person. So if I'm thinking about them, I put my mask on. But if I don't think about me, I won't wear it. And we've made it's just a selfishness that's been exposed in this nation. It's real bad. It's real bad.
But basically, what we're trying to do by getting you guys to think about whether or not Jesus was racist or not is trying to get you guys to search your own hearts to see whether or not you are. Because let me say this: there's no way you can be on social media all day and night and not be a little racist. There's no way you can see one group of people doing wrong for 24 hours a day and not be upset with that other color. There's no way that other color can see us, Black Lives Matter, we're boycotting, we're doing this, we're talking back, we're doing all this, and not feel some kind of way about each other. So in all this, remember, all this is not about nobody but you. It's time that we start searching our hearts and getting out that junk that's in there and put more Christ in.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting down to the end. So, Prophet, any final words you have for the people?
Yeah, I would say make sure that you don't let nothing separate you from the love of God. Paul said that don't let famine, don't let politics, don't let religion separate you from the love of God. And if you feel that is pulling or causing division, you need to go back to God and say, God, help me. And I say the good prayer is, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy. It got everything. Forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass, and lead me not into temptation. Lead me not into racism. Let me stop. Okay, that's
it. It covers it all. It covers it all. It covers the multitude. Exactly. It's good, man.
So how do you know you're separated? How do you know you're separated? For what Prophet just said, I will let nothing separate me from the love of Christ. How do you know you're separated? If you trying to spray your car down and you grab that water hose and you know you turn the faucet on, but you still can't use that water hose, you know it's disconnected. When it's time for what's in you to come out and it doesn't come out, you've been disconnected. If love is supposed to come out and it doesn't come out, you've been disconnected. If peace and joy is supposed to come out and it doesn't come out, you've been disconnected. It's not about what's locked up, it's about what actually comes out. So watch and see what's coming out of you. If hatred is coming out of you, you've been disconnected. If racism is coming out of you, you've been disconnected. So it's time to get reconnected so that we can fulfill the charge of the love of Christ in this nation, because that's what's needed. We need to love more.
And when you said that Jesus says not what goes in a man, but what's come out of him defiles him.
That's
So
it.
I'm gonna get me a piece of wing in a minute, and I'm gonna get me
Well, everybody, we thank you for joining us for Man Talk Monday. Prophet, we thank you for jumping on with us and sharing with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. John, another one in the books.
No book, man.
7:00 Monday nights. Be here. We'll catch you next week. See y'all later.
God.
All right.